is that, you talked about a potential for 100% tariffs on India because we might move away from using the US dollar. There is no reason for us to move away from the US dollar. The reason we were doing that was because of sanctions imposed by the Biden administration. And you must understand that Joe Biden has a personal khundak, so to speak, about Ukraine. He has been a long-term advocate for Ukraine joining NATO. That is not a consensus in the US. The Republicans don't want Ukraine to join NATO. Jim Baker, who was Secretary of State to George Bush I, had promised that there would be no expansion of NATO, even to include the Warsaw Pact countries, leave alone former parts of the Soviet Union like Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, etc.
Truly.
So that the consensus is going to go back to the Jim Baker consensus, and the Jim Baker consensus is going to be accepted by Donald Trump. So I don't think there is any reason to fear the persistence of sanctions relating to the Ukraine war. Those will go away pretty soon.
I get that.
And that reduces the need for us to move away from the US dollar.
So which takes me to my next question.
There will be cooperation.
Which takes me, PK, to my next question, just so that I can get Alok and Sushant in.
Pacific will be the focus.
What happens to our relationship with Russia? Sushant and Alok ji, if you can throw your weight in on that. Will he be okay with our relationship with Russia, our trade with Russia, our being a big consumer of Russian oil? Will this be okay, and for how long? Sushant?
So I think, Arnab, it will depend on what kind of a relationship he wants to have with Russia.
True.
If he wants to improve relations with Russia, then he can't be pressing India to break off relations with Russia, right?
Yeah.
If he is going to be increasing, as Mr. Basu is saying, he's going to be increasing oil production within the United States, and oil prices are going to crash, the Russians are going to take a hit automatically. They depend on a certain level at which oil prices are to run their economy. Not only the Russians, many other countries, including Iran, will take a big hit if oil prices were to crash from, I think they're about $70-75 right now, crash to about Right? But again, US can ramp up oil production only if it remains above a certain level, so that fracking becomes possible. Otherwise, it's not economical. So we'll have to see how that balance operates. But if he's going to weigh in the direction of ending the war in Ukraine, and he's also going to pressure the Europeans to back off from the way they are trying to ignite the flames out there even more. And he's going to have some kind of a détente with Russia, which actually also gives him a bit of a leg up in a potential confrontation or contestation with China, which also works for us. In fact, one of the things that the Indians have been trying to impress upon the Americans is that it's strategically myopic for you to target the Russians, who are simply not the old Soviet Union and the superpower of the past. It's a great power still, but it's not what the Soviet Union was. And to push them into the arms of the Chinese.
Yes.
How does it make sense for the Americans? So if Trump is going to drive that wedge, it works for us.
Yes.
So we can be friends with the Russians. We are not going to be picking up a fight with the Chinese. But I think it does give us a leg up to even negotiate better with the Chinese if the Americans are breathing down their neck.
That is
between India and the United States again. Look, these are two big countries. Okay, we are not going to be on the same page on everything. We will have our differences. We are both very argumentative nations, and I have absolutely no problem, none whatsoever, if the Trump administration is going to be transactional. I think it works very well for us.
Of course, we are transactional.
Relationship, because Arnab, all international relationships are transactional.
Of course we are.
You put whatever cosmetics on it, call it strategic, comprehensive, civilization.
No. It's mutual interest. No, it's, I totally agree with you. No, I like that. See, Suhail, everyone likes that. We're practical people.
We've got a Gujarati as
let's do
Prime
transaction.
Minister.
So
and we've
let's,
got Donald
if
Trump
supposing
of
the
businessman
Americans are
as
going to
president.
place
It's a
certain
great
tariffs on
combination.
us, let us see how we are going to negotiate.
No,
with
no, of
them.
course we will. Of course we will. But I have a last point, and people are so enjoying the conversation here. I can't tell you so many people saying on social media, put this entire chunk on YouTube, your republicworld.com, so people can see it even if we're not live, and I'm going to do exactly that. My last question on this fantastic discussion is to Alok Bansal, geopolitical strategist. Mr. Bansal, my last question is on China. The Quad, which was on the back burner, was revived and given new life when Donald Trump came into power. That was 2017 that the Quad was revived. Will he want us in an anti-China camp?
See, I have no doubts that he would want to revive Quad and want us in an anti-China camp. And in fact, the whole euphoria in India, as far as Trump presidency is concerned, besides personal equations, stems from he's an enemy of our enemies. He's anti-China, he's expected to be anti-Pakistan, so he'll do that. But I have 6 or 7 major problems with Trump. Starting with, he would not want American companies to set up investment in India for setting up production facilities. He would want them to shift back production facilities to US so that US citizens get employment. He would like to raise tariffs. For a country like India, which has a favorable balance of trade, that will be again a problem. You have talked about visas. H-1B, L-1 visas will be curtailed severely. IT companies will be affected adversely. There is no doubt about it. You talked about BRICS currency and alternative mechanisms which we are working, Russia paying on rupee, ruble, etc., which will be there. And one issue which is often forgotten is that his pathological hatred for Iran could actually create another war in Persian Gulf. And that would be extremely catastrophic for India because 100 billion plus remittances that we get every year, almost 50% of that comes from Gulf countries. Now, that conflict can not only curtail this remittances as happened during the first and second Gulf War, but could also choke Persian Gulf from which we get valuable energy sources and bulk of our trade actually transits through that.
Okay.
So these are some of the issues which come. And finally, Trump is extremely inconsistent. So how do you plan? Today he'll make one statement, tomorrow he'll make something.
Can I get a rebut? Mr. Bansal, as the contrarian in the group, you're getting reactions. I'm extending. 20 seconds from Suhail. Suhail first. PK after that. Suhail first.
Let me tell you, Mr. Bansal, we are all predicting an unpredictable man's term even before his term has begun. So remember, his unpredictability is his biggest thing.
They have a good laugh on that.
I want to just end because Arnab has actually studied in a proper university. It's about a quote from Julius Caesar. When Caesar was told he could never be flattered, he was most flattered. Donald Trump is the modern day Julius Caesar.
All right, okay.
Just keep flattering him.
Okay, flattering. No. I think he's very practical. Ravi, 10 seconds to Ravi.
Yes.
Rejoinder, Ravi.
One, the dollar
Coming,
is
PK.
a battle line. Yeah, dollar is a battle line.
Yeah,
Anybody
dollar is
who
the battle line.
Moves away from the dollar is no friend.
We're at war. Okay.
Second, just a month ago, I spoke to Wang Yi, the distinguished foreign minister of China, and I said, America made you rich and powerful. Why are you not an American ally? So India needs to watch on its flank because China.
Oh, okay. Now
I would like to see that repaired.
Okay. I have to go, but I have to let PK have a 10-second rejoinder.
Okay, quickly on Iran, the JCPOA needs to be abandoned because Iran is very close to getting a nuclear weapon, and Trump is going to ensure that there'll be renewed sanctions on Iran.
Yeah, I know.
This is not too bad for India.
Yeah.
Because we had the Chabahar port. The Chabahar port was for Afghanistan. It was for the regime that is gone from Afghanistan.
So 5 seconds to
we can't
Sushant.
really use the Chabahar port anymore.
5 seconds to Sushant.
So the key point, though, is that there will be new sanctions on Iran.
Yeah. 5 seconds to
Which will make it much more
Sushant.
difficult for Iran to prosecute the war against Israel through Hamas and Hezbollah.
Okay. Sushant, you want?
So, Arnab,
So
just
I too,
few
you too will be back.
quick points to rebut my friend Alok. Look, one on the visa thing. If he's stopping illegal immigration, but legal migration is going to be allowed, I don't see what is the problem, especially if technically qualified Indians start getting jobs out there. Not all of them, but Indian students, for example, who go out there, he has said that there will be some kind of an automatic route. So what's the big deal? And in any case, if Indians stay back in India and make a greater India, what is our problem?
No,
Why
no,
do
no.
we
The
vote-
problem is not that. The problem is Donald Trump says, I want the Harvard, MIT, Oxford, Cambridge types. He's very clear. He wants the creme de la creme of